Hi guys, welcome back to part 3. We finished off our 10 rows for our neck. So we're going to start. So I just saved my thing overnight. So we are going to start building the head. It's built in 2 different sections. So the feet may get in the way here. I'm going to move my camera. So I'm going to try to do this as easy as I can. He's kind of long, so his feet kept hitting the camera, so I just had to change the camera angle. So we're going to do 19 stitches. That's what I have written down on my computer. But really, 19 takes me all the way back around to here. So one more row, and then we're going to chain. I know, what was the point of that, right? I don't know why I wrote it down like that. And then we're going to chain and do some weird stuff. Excuse me. But if you followed my my unicorn, I did the same thing to make the head. So I just took that to do this. I'm gonna run out of yarn. I'm almost to the end of this cake. Do laundry again. It's a gorgeous day outside, so I thought I would wash some blankets and hang them on the line. So I have to listen to my washing machine for a bit. So I am back around, and I am going to chain. So we're just gonna keep our marker out for now. I'm gonna chain 22. That's 22. I am going to skip 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. And I'm going to go into here. That's my 8th stitch. And I'm going to make a stitch. Now the only thing, I don't know if you're starting and stopping at the same place I am. You have to make sure. So the way mine is sitting right now, my head's going to be turned. So if you are okay with your head being slightly turned, but I don't want my head turned. I generally usually have all my dolls' heads turned, but I don't really want my head turned. So I'm going to do 2 more stitches, and then I'm going to chain 22. So that's all you have to do, is make sure that it's going to be in a spot that is going to be in the front. So again, that's my 22. I'm going to skip 7. Two, 4, 6, 7. I'm going to go into the 8th one, and I'm going to attach it. Now that looks to me like my face is going to be in the front. So I'm just going to continue back around. My computer shut off. So I wrote down 10 single crochets back to my spot, but I think because I just moved it, it might not be accurate. Well, I'm going to say 9 back to the spot. I'm going to make this my new start and stop point. So just put your marker in there. And now we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and that includes getting into the chain. So unfortunately, you've got a pain in the butt part where you have to actually work the chain, and then when we go down to the bottom, we're going to have to work the chain. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Alright, so I've gone all the way around. We are going to take our marker out and we're going to put it around the loop. And I'll pull up all my yarn. That's all the yarn I have. So if you're working on the inside of the cake, just use the outside for this part. That's all I did when I originally built that. I'm running out of yarn anyway for up here, so I'm just going to start a new cake. If you don't have cakes, then you may have to fasten off and then reattach later, but I'm just going to set my yarn aside and I'm going to attach now down at the bottom. So make a slip knot. Go down here to the bottom corner and we're going to reattach. So reattach with a stitch and then put a single crochet in that same space. My straggler is getting in the way. So that is now going to be your new spot. Now you can put another marker there if you want. I had a blue one somewhere. You can put another marker there if you want, but it's really not necessary. So now you're going to do 1 single crochet around this part. You're going to use the bottom stitches here and go around here. I changed my camera angle. I hope it's a little bit better. Still kind of gets in the way of my arm. I should have done it from the other side, but then my other arm would get in the way. It's very difficult to film sometimes when you got to do weird things. So this is going to make your head look funny for a bit. There's a corner stitch right in there you need to get into. And now, just move this over a tad. And now, get that out of my way. We're going to go up into this part. Now, for the most part, you're going to get 1 stitch, or, excuse me, 1 piece of yarn. I have such bad allergies. Today's a beautiful day, so everybody's cutting their lawn and the wind's blowing all the pollen around, and so I've got a bunch of allergy problems going on today. So continue around to your marker. And then we have to start increasing. So we're going to be working this bottom jaw, the one we're on now. We're going to be working the bottom jaw first. Then we're going to go and do the top. So if it looks like that your bottom jaw is going to make everything so wide open, it's not, because when we start doing the top, it'll push this down. It's just awkward. It's just awkward to do. Not really in real life, but on camera. So I'm probably going to make it look way awkward. But don't judge it. If you're watching this before making the doll, don't judge this based on how I'm making it look, because I've got to try to do this on camera. So I can't hold it close to my body, and I can't sit a certain way. Do you know what I mean? So I'm struggling just to get into these stitches just because I got a camera right in my way. So if I bump you, I apologize. So go into your last stitch down here. Now this is where we reattach. So there's a tiny little stitch right there, but we're just going to completely ignore it like it's not even there. And I'm caught on my toes and everything else. This is just one great big mess. Great big messy yarn. So when we start our next row, and get my computer working again, your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. And I'm not sure how my yarn got all. So bypass this and go into that to start your first stitch, and you'll never know that that's where we reattached. So 2 single crochets and an increase all the way around, following the stitches you just made. And then we're going to do 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. This should give you 40 stitches, according to my numbers from my first doll. But if you don't have 40, don't worry about it. I mean, if you've got 38 or, 37, you still gonna look like an alien face. And now I'm not even on camera. Just be careful of where your stitches are in this corner, because you could potentially miss one. I almost just missed one. So I actually have 42 stitches. I got 2 extra stitches, so that's no big deal to me. I'm just gonna keep on plugging away. So 4 rows of 1 single crochet in whatever many stitches you have, and I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have. Let me show you. This is what you should have. That's how funny it looks right now. So you can put stuffing in there. We're going to start closing up the top here. I'm going to take my row marker off. So just need stuffing in the top part of the neck. This is a very important part to stuff, to make sure that the neck is not going to be wobbly once the great big ginormous bulbous head is on there. So I like to really pack my stuffing in there. Like by pack, I mean repeatedly packing it down until it is packed. Not just shove a whole bunch in there, I mean actually pack it down. The neck is so tall and skinny, it kind of has to hold up everything. So anyway, just make sure you continue to pack that down. So we're gonna start decreasing. So we're gonna do the same thing a couple of times. So we're gonna do 2 single crochet decrease. That's number 1. I reach around the camera. Camera's a little close to me. That's number 1 and number 2, and then your decrease. So I'm just going to stick with my invisible one, even though, as you can see, it's not that invisible. So my numbers I have are 30 stitches, but those won't match the numbers I have because I am 2 stitches ahead of the game. And don't worry, when we start on the top part, you're going to have this line where you made your chain. But once we get the eyes on and everything, it won't be noticeable. So continue your 2 single crochet decrease all the way around. And I will see you. Oh, no, I won't. After you're done your 2 single crochet decrease, I want you to do 1 round of 1 single crochet in each stitch. Then I'll see you after that. So this is what you should have right now. I actually had 31 stitches. I was supposed to have 30, so now I'm only 1 ahead. I don't know how I do it. I don't know. So now we're going to do another 2 single crochet decrease, and this will bring you down to 21 stitches. And then another round of 1 single crochet in each of those 21 stitches. That's 2 single crochets and then a decrease. I know I just showed you this. I don't really need to be showing you this. Alright, couple more rounds. And then we're going to be closing this and cinching it shut. So this round is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease. That's 1 single crochet and then your decrease. So this will bring you down to 15 stitches, roughly, ish. Depends on if you're on the same page as, well, not even me, because mine's not going to be 15 stitches, but mine will probably be 16 stitches. And then just do 1 single crochet in each of those however many stitches you have, and then we're going to fasten off and cinch this baby closed, and then we got to start on the top of his head. So I will see you after all that, and we'll cinch it closed, put some stuffing in there, and then we'll get busy with finishing this head. So I have 16 stitches, just like I thought I would. So we are going to fasten off. So you need just enough to cinch and weave. So not a whole pile. So it's going to be weird to cinch without the stuffing being here. So you're going to go in the front loop and out the front loop. Just like that. Just like a normal cinch. Now, I do understand that this is a large cinch. I like doing large cinches because I feel that it has a better look to it, but that's simply my opinion. If you don't want to cinch something this large, if you want to cinch a smaller hole, then by all means do another 1 single crochet decrease or 2 single crochet decrease to close it up a bit. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but it gives a certain look that I kind of wanted for the nose part, actually the mouth part. This actually becomes the mouth part. Aliens don't have noses, they got a couple little slits, so that's all I did for that. So once you come back around, you're just gonna pull. Like I said, I know how weird it is to not have stuffing in here, so just put your hand in there. We're gonna have to come across and make a knot to secure it. Sorry, it's hard to do when a camera's in my way. So pull back and forth on that knot so you can tighten that right down, just like that. So let's put stuffing in it so we can weave. So keep in mind, this is small because this is his mouth and nose area of the face. The head will be big and bulbous, and then all together a ginormous head. So once you have your stuffing in there, then you can weave in and out, back and forth a couple of times, different directions, but make sure you pull that bump down that causes, because we're going to put his mouth right across there. You can weave as much as you want or as little as you want. I don't really think anyone's going to be trying to open your mouth, so I think the security on this doesn't have to be that much. So now we go back to this part and we're gonna work around here. So just make sure your stuffing's kind of down and out of the way. Don't try to force too much into here because we need this to bend like that. So I don't have much yarn left on this side, but alright, back to the top. So we're going to increase the top. We're going to do the same thing that we did on the bottom. This is what's going to be hard to do on camera. So we're going to do 2 single crochet increase on the top. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Sorry, that if I was to move my arm the way that I want to, I hit the camera. So I'm gonna look awkward. So this should bring you up to 44 stitches. So after we do our increase, I want your next row to be 1 single crochet in each of those 44 stitches. So I had 42 stitches. So I was plus 2 down here and minus 2 up here. So I'm gonna have to add some more yarn. Your next round is gonna be 3 single crochets and an increase, and this should take you up to 55 stitches. That's number 1. Let me use a better marker. So I need to start weaving. I need to start using a new thing of yarn. So I'm gonna go in like I'm doing a color change. I'm gonna pull up a loop but I'm going to finish it with my new yarn. Those two pieces, those two tails, I'll show you in a second. I just got to get it all untangled here. So I need to pull everything tight, pull everything down and pull everything tight. Oh, how am I tangled? Sorry, it's very hard to do when I'm trying to do it on camera. That's my second stitch. This is my third stitch. I'm weaving in my two pieces, but I'm only gonna do it a couple of stitches. So my increase goes here. So I'm gonna do my increase, and then I'll show you what I do with the, so I don't have to keep weaving. I like my knots on the inside of my project, so I'm gonna take these two pieces, and I'm not pulling tight on that first knot, but I'm going to do a tight second knot, and then I'm going to cut this off just a little bit, and that's just going to get tucked down inside my stuffing, so I don't have to worry about it coming undone. And my knot is behind everything, so nobody will see it. So that's how I do a new yarn. I put new yarn in. So anyway, 3 single crochets and an increase, bringing you up to 55 stitches, or whatever, however many you have. It'll bring me up to probably 52 stitches, or something, I don't know. And then you can do 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. Did I put 2 in there? Yep. And I will see you on the other side. So this is what it should look like. Now, if you're going, Tara, what the heck, man? This, first of all, is going to get stuffing. But you're still going to see that line. So you're going to put stuffing in there, but you're still going to see that. Now let me show you before you freak out and you don't want to keep going. My guy had the same thing, but now it's not noticeable. You can notice a bit here, but that just looks like it's the curvature of his nose, which doesn't really have a nose. And then you can see it here and here, which just accentuates the shape of his head, really. So a lot of this is going to take away from this mark, which is the original chain that you did to create the head to be like this. So don't worry, it's gonna look perfectly fine. Right now it just looks really horrible and you're going, what the heck, man, this is not gonna look like an alien's head. But trust in the process. I don't think I've ever steered you guys wrong before. However, I did tell you you'd have 55 stitches. I did allude to the fact that I would probably have 52. I have 52 stitches, so I'm off by 3. Not a big deal. Let's continue. Our last increase before we start decreasing is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. This should bring you up to 66 stitches, although it's going to bring me up to 62 stitches. So you're increasing by 10 every time you go around. And then instead of just 1 round of 1 in each, I want you to do 3 rounds of 1 in each stitch. Then we'll start decreasing, but we need that 3 rounds in between. So that's number 1. That's 2, 3, and 4 single crochets, and your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And continue. So you can start stuffing it if you want. We're going to start decreasing. I just want to make sure that my front is packed and my neck. Other than that, I'm probably not going to start stuffing it because it's hard for me to hold, so you can make that decision yourself. You just really want to make sure that that neck part is tight, packed pretty tight, because trust me, you don't want a wobbly head. Just be careful how much you put in here, because you want the head to not be looking up into the air. So we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to start our 4 single crochet decrease. Oh, by the way, I had 62 stitches, so I'm on track and off track at the same time. So 4 single crochet decrease. This should bring you back down to 50, for me, 52 stitches or 55 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets and a decrease. I'm doing invisible, which is just using the front loops. I know I say that every time. And repeat. So once you're done this, your next row is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. You see why I needed a whole 3rd video just for the head? It's a lot. Anyway, I'll see you on the other side. So your next rounds are going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. This will take you down to 44 stitches, or in my case 42 stitches. And then I want you to do 1 single crochet in each of those. That's number 1. That's number 2. 3 single crochets and a decrease. Alright, we're getting there. I haven't stuffed mine yet. I mean, this keeps popping out where I stuffed it down there, but I haven't stuffed mine yet. That's why my line looks so prominent. So our next decrease rounds are going to be 2 single crochet decrease. This will bring you down to 33 stitches, or in my case 32 stitches. Just about done. That's 2 single crochets and then your decrease. Your marker's number 1, always number 1. So can you believe I actually got 22 stitches? I'm finally at the numbers I'm supposed to be at. Okay, so I've been trying to stuff this along the way because I just got a couple of more rows to do. So I like to push it all out and then fill the middle. That's how I like to stuff. I feel like it pushes your invisible decreases out to the point where you can't notice them all that much, and it also gives a nice round, it's just a nicer way to stuff. So I have stuffed this as much as I can without spreading my stitches open so you can see the stuffing, so I don't want to overstuff, and I think his neck is pretty solid. So that's the shape that I've got going on, and then these great big bulbous eyes are going to be here and here, so right in here is not going to be that noticeable. So that's kind of the shape that I got going on, and it's a nice shape. I like it. I'm happy with it. So your next 2 rounds are going to be pretty easy peasy. You can choose whether to do them or not. At this point, you can cinch this up. I still think it's a little big at 22 stitches. So I've left a little hole because I'm probably going to fill this just before I cinch it. But your next round, it's just going to be to decrease 11 times. So mine are going to be invisible. If you don't want to do the decrease, you can just do one single crochet decrease. But really, I don't feel that there's much difference between the two of them. So it's going to be harder to show you. But just decrease after decrease, 11 of them. And then you're going to do one single crochet in each stitch around just to make it look aesthetically look nice. And I'll meet you back here, because I'm not going to be able to do this on camera. Alright, this is what I've got. So I've got my one single crochet done. That's 11 stitches. I'm going to take this guy out because I'm going to fasten off. So you need to fasten off with enough to cinch this shut and weave a little bit. The reason I did it this way is because I needed this to look as neat as I could, because it's very, very visible. That's why I chose to do it the way I did it, in case you're wondering. So now we just finish sticking our stuffing in there. I had already dug a hole, so I'm just going to pack that hole that I dug. I'm just using my thumb to pack it down. You want as much as you can get in without overstuffing. Then I'm just going to pack around the top, because when we cinch, I don't want this to wrinkle, if you understand what I mean by that. So I might just like overpack just around the top. And we're gonna cinch just like we did before. We're gonna go in the front loop and out the front loop, all the way around. You don't have to pull tight now. And if you wanted to do every other stitch, you could do every other stitch. Me, I do every stitch. It just, it lays flatter. Personally, that's what I think. So, pull your cinch closed so it shouldn't be too wrinkled if you've stuffed it enough. And again, I'm just going to come across and I'm going to secure that cinch by going through the loop, pulling back and forth to make my knot nice and tight. So go in right next to it. So there's my lead. I'm going to go in as close as I can, and I'm going to pop out somewhere, so when I pull down, it's going to pull down that bump that I got from making that knot. And this is what it should look like. So nice and flat, not a big bump at all. So just weave back and forth before you cut it off a couple of times, and I will see you back here with our black to get our eyes done. Alright, isn't it creepy without any eyes? Super creepy. So set him aside for now. This is a 4-weight worsted Red Heart Super Saver Black. It calls for a 5mm. I'm going to use a 4.5. I'm going down because I want this eye to be nice and tight. I don't want to see any stuffing through it. That's the worst thing about using black. is stuffing it and seeing the stuffing through it. Well, we have an alien that has big black bulbous eyes, so we do not want to see the stuffing through it at all. So go down in hook size. If you're using a black that calls for a 4.5, go down to a 4. Whatever you're using, just go down a hook size because you really want it to be nice and tight. So we're going to make a slip knot. Not that way because that's not right. And we're going to chain 9. His eyes are not round. This is why we're not starting with a magic ring. They don't have round eyes. I'm going to turn my light up some more because it is black that I'm using. So, starting in the first stitch you can get into, you've got 8 working stitches. The 9th one is on your hook. You're going to make 2 single crochets, one in each of the 2 stitches. Then you're going to do 3 half double crochets, one in each. You're going to do 2 single crochets. Now it's not going to make sense. You have 1 stitch left and you're going to put 4 single crochets in that stitch. So this is where your slip knot is, so it's going to open up for you. Don't worry about that. So pull your slip knot closed again. You should be kind of coming around like this. So turn it sideways because we want to come back down this. So this is your slip knot. You're going to have to make sure you get into the stitch that's right next to your slip knot. And you're going to put 2 single crochets. So try to weave in your tail from your slip knot. If you can't, that's fine. I'm going to do mine. You're going to have to weave yours in after if you can't crochet it in now. 3 half doubles. So we're just doing the exact same thing we did on the other side so that it matches. And then 2 singles. And you should be right back up at the point. So I'm going to snip my tail off because I weaved it in. Get off. I need some new scissors. I bought new scissors, but they're big. So you can put a stitch marker in here if you want to keep track of what's going on. So this is going to be an elongated stitch. So go over to your next stitch, which doesn't look like it's right next door, but it is. It's just elongated. Put your marker in there. You're going to do 2 single crochets. So this is elongated, so don't put them in the same space. Make sure you're aware that you are going into the next stitch, which is kind of far away, if you can tell. So in the next space, you're going to put 2 half doubles in the same stitch. The next stitch, you're going to put 2 half doubles. So when you see this written, you're going to see brackets around it. That means in the same space, because you'll need a written pattern to make eye number 2. Your next stitch is going to be 2 half doubles. Then your next stitch is going to be 2 half doubles. So that's 4 stitches with 2 half doubles in each stitch. Then you're going to do 5 single crochets. Takes you right around the corner. Because we want it bulging out on the sides, not the tippy tops. And now we're going to do the same thing. You're going to do 4 stitches of 2 half doubles in each stitch. And then you're going to do 3 single crochets. And that takes you up to your last stitch before your marker. So it looks pretty funny, and it will. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. And you're not going to be able to finish that sequence. You're going to have 2 extra stitches left, and I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of them. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets. So it's going to start to curl up. You can pop it around, and then an increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Did I say increase before? I think so. So repeat this all the way around, and at the end you should probably have 2 extra stitches. You won't be able to finish your sequence, that's for sure. So I'm done my sequence. I cannot fit the next one in, but I have 2 stitches left. I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in each of those 2 stitches. You should have 30 stitches at this point. And now we're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 30 stitches, and we are done. So this is your eye. Once it's stuffed and sewn on, I know it doesn't look that big right now, but we are done. You need to fasten off with a sewing tail. Yeah, we need to sew 3/4 of it on, and then we stuff. You can use whatever side you want. So all you need to do before we start is to determine where exactly your eyeballs are going to go. I cannot reach my pins. Ooh, there we go. So make sure you're pinning this and doing this, because after it's all said and done, you're not going to be able to do it again. The bottom of my eye is the 9th row from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's sitting on the 9th row, if that helps. And then up here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 down from here, 9 up from there. I wonder if I planned it that way. I didn't write it down if I did. So that gives you any indication. You need to make room for 2 slits for his nose, and then right here where we fastened off and cinched, that's where his mouth is. So I'm just going to do invisible stitches, I think. Actually, I'm probably just going to go in and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll have to make sure mine's up like that, because you need to put stuffing in it. So I would sew 3/4 of the way around and then do your stuffing. I don't know how much is in between. That's about what's in between my eyes. It's hard to tell because down here it looks like a couple stitches. Up here is 3 stitches because of the shape of it. So that gives you any idea, any indication. So I'm probably going to have a bigger space in between these eyes than I did my last eyes. Anyway, I've come back around. And I've kind of overlapped that a little bit. So you can weave in and out of the stuffing that's in here. And then I'm going to make a knot and I'm going to poke it down. Just because you can't really make a knot anywhere else, so make a knot, cut this off, but leave a nubby if you can see that. Try not to make the knot too tight because it'll just slip through the stuffing if you do. This, in theory, should get stuck in the stuffing. So now, because it's black, you just gotta pull all the pieces of stuffing off. Anyway, so go ahead and get your other eye sewn on, and I will meet you back here and we'll do the nose and the mouth. So I've got my eyes on. They're not perfect because I suck at sewing. And we're still attached, so if you still have your yarn, I would just say move down. I'm just moving my yarn, I'm not sewing. But move down to the face, the bottom part of the face, with your yarn, so we can make the nose. The little nose slits, I don't want to be here. I'm going to come 1 stitch up. So the nose slits I just did, so I'm just going to come across. And then I'm going to scooch, it's in the eye to show you. I'm going to scooch up over here where I want the other nostril to be. So try to make it even. And then I'm going to come down, preferably in the same slanty spot like that. And I'm going to pop out down here where I want the mouth to be. So when I pull, it puts the second nostril in. And then the mouth I just came across, made a slit, popped out wherever I pop out, just like that. That is it. And then this guy is long. And then I tied a knot and I poked it down. So cut it off, leaving a nubby. And then just poke that down so that nobody can take your mouth and rip it off. Or your nose, which is all still attached to your eye. There we go. That's it. This, scooch him up, is your gray alien. We're all done. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget, if you want to buy me a coffee, you'll find the link below. Bye, guys.